Okay, so we're going to move on now to personal problems with writing, and this is where Stephen comes into the webinar. Stephen, hope you're still there.
Hi, I'm still here.
Good stuff. Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to talk a bit about the talk to write, linking back to personal problems with writing. One thing that dyslexics often don't do when they're writing is they don't plan it. They often just go straight into it. And that's one of the biggest problems, because if you don't plan something, you can't, and you just go for it, your mind isn't focusing on the actual key information the person or the reader will need to read about. And I always say content is king rather than spelling and grammar. We know dyslexics will make issues with spelling and grammar, so what they do, what the big key is to put as much information, i.e. facts, the key facts on the paper. So when the reader reads, they can see, oh, okay, the grammar's not brilliant, the spelling's not brilliant, but they understand what they're supposed to be writing about. And that's what I think very much what Patrick was talking about. Now, I know as a dyslexic, when I used to write, I used to go straight into writing something and on paper, and the grammar would be all over the place because I'm trying to concentrate on the sentence at the same time trying to put the information on paper. My spelling used to be awful, and so I used to think, I knew if I was writing something on paper, I always had my problems. So one day my teacher realized that when I was on the computer, I was a lot better than when I was writing something. And to analyze that, the reason why I was better on a computer was because I was able to see my mistakes because it was clear on paper, on the computer screen. I was able to read better because the information was directly in front of me and my eye fatigue was less. And thirdly, I was able to come back to it. Now, being a dyslexic, we often think, let's just get this work over and done with. But that's the wrong strategy. I would advise parents, and I know teachers, it's a bit difficult getting computers into the classroom, but I'd advise parents, even if you buy your child a cheap laptop computer, they can take it into class. You can get these as mini laptops as cheap as £150. And all you need is just a Word on it or one of these cheap programs. But the reason why I think computers are very good for dyslexics, for solving their problems, is they can plan it before they need to submit it. They can, when they're planning it, they can jot down set notes as well, and they can build a structure on the screen, so it's building a nice image. They can make it clear. They can also say, okay, look, my mind's gone now. I need 10, 20 minutes, or I want to come back to it later. And then when they come back to it, they can have they have a clear mind to come back to it. And then they can, when they're reading through it, they can make the corrections easier, and they can see the corrections are nice and tidy. Where if it's on paper, you're going to have scribble all over it. So I definitely think having a mini computer definitely helps dyslexics. I know that, for example, years and years ago when my teachers used to read my reports and they say, Steve, you've always got the facts, but your grammar's not great and your spelling's awful. Now, to solve these issues with dyslexics, I know it's not easy being dyslexic. Again, it's structure. Now, to go back what Patrick was saying about talk to write, it's a similar approach that I used to use. When I started, I worked out that if I rushed into a piece of work, I would make my mistakes. But if I stepped back and said, firstly, what I need to do is prepare what I'm going to write, I would get better marks. Now, ways you can prepare could just be, before you're writing a paragraph, what are the key information that you want to write? And I often found that if I wrote I said, okay, paragraph 1 I was going to write about, in history, about the First World War, about the trenches, I would write a set of bullet points of what I wanted to write. But what I found was I was able to put these bullet points into a paragraph. Straight away, I had a structure. And that's definitely something which dyslexics need to teach themselves, is before they start to work on something, plan it. And then you often find that by planning it, you can piece together what you wanted to say and do. Can I ask Patrick how he might find solving writing issues, if he thinks I'm on the correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's what Stephen was talking about. It's, you know, it's a feedback. It's you know, for me, you know, the critical thing is getting feedback from a person. If, you know, with the right learning philosophy, with an understanding that, you know, you practice and you feedback and you take action again, and that you can talk it out so you can isolate the variables, I think a dyslexic can write. You know, I think it's important, you know, keep the faith. You know, I think with the right methodology in terms of learning how to write, it is possible, you know, and you know, it's also important to emphasize that the wrong learning methodology, and dyslexics will practice and practice and practice and will not improve very, very quickly. And that's why it can be quite a depressing and a demoralizing process of practicing writing in a certain way, because a lot of the time, you know, non-dyslexic peers will not excel, but they will improve their writing over time in that circumstances, and a dyslexic will not. So I think for me, methodology would be an absolute critical issue.
Okay, thanks guys.